Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Memo here, back with another video. Today, we're gonna be talking about how to EQ vocals so you can get that clean, crispy sound. Now, EQing vocals is something that is pretty much one of the basic things you need to know how to do when you want to get into to recording your own vocals and processing your own vocals. I've done some tutorials on how I process my vocals in kind of like a general way in the past, and I feel like I've gotten a lot of comments where people have wanted for me to get more detailed into my EQing process. So that's what we're gonna do today. For those of you who don't know exactly what it is that we're doing when we're EQing, when we're adding EQ to our vocal, what we're trying to do is pretty much when you record a vocal into the microphone, there's a lot of unnecessary sounds that also get recorded. The sound of the room that you're in, there's like sound bouncing off the walls, frequencies in your voice that aren't very necessary when adding vocals to a song. And yeah, there's a lot of unnecessary audio information that we can kind of remove in order to kind of focus on the part of the vocal that is most important. Before we start, I want to actually show you guys what the vocal sounds like with no effects, and then show you guys how it ended up sounding after I was done doing all of the mixing on the track. So first, I'll play you guys the vocal here. We're pretty much going to focus on like a verse section of the song. I'll play you guys part of that verse with no effects at all. No EQing, no reverb, no delay, no nothing, no compression. Here it goes.
Damned if I tell her hit my line just to pass the time. Fight the urge to pull strings, I mean I'm no mastermind. Shit, I ain't mastermind. Shit, damn it, I'm damned to clash in time with this rapid drive. Gotta hop in it and damn.
Cool. And now I want to play you guys pretty much that same section, but with all the processing done.
Damned if I tell her hit my line just to pass the time. Fight the urge to pull strings, I mean I'm no mastermind. Shit, I ain't mastermind. Shit, damn it, I'm damned to clash in time with this rapid drive. Gotta hop in it and add to the crib.
Cool, so let's jump in. The first thing that I like to do whenever I'm EQing a vocal is, so let's add here, we're gonna actually be doing this with a EQ plugin, my favorite EQ plugin. It's called the FabFilter Pro Q. Everything that I do in this video, for the most part, you can do with any EQ that you have. GarageBand and Logic and FL Studio and Ableton, they all come with an EQ for free. All the stuff that I do in this video, you can do with your own EQ. Now, this is just the EQ that I like to use. So if you can find a way to get your hands on it, awesome. I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want to care to buy this, but it's not necessary at all. Full disclosure.
Damned if I tell her hit my line just to pass.
So the first thing we can hear as soon as you play that vocal, that fresh out of the mic, it sounds very muddy. It sounds like there's a lot of unnecessary information in the low end, pretty much here.
Damned if I tell her hit my
and you can see that. So to start, let's actually try to strip some of that away.
Damned if I tell her hit my line just to pass the time. Fight the urge to pull strings.
So I like to strip out a decent amount of the low end. I think that with every vocal, with every microphone, how much low end you cut is a little different. So you gotta kind of use your ear. Don't make the vocal sound too thin. So you want it to sound as real as possible. So you don't want it to sound like there's absolutely no low end. You want it to sound a little natural. So don't go too crazy with removing low end, but remove just enough so you don't get that muddiness or whatever. So let's see what it sounds like now.
Damned if I tell her hit my line just to pass the time. Fight the urge to pull strings, I mean I'm no mastermind.
That sounds pretty good to me. In terms of removing the muddiness, I'm actually gonna kind of lower it a little bit here as well.
If I tell her hit my line just to pass the time. If I tell her hit my line just to pass the time. Fight the urge to pull strings, I mean I'm no mastermind. Shit, I ain't mastermind. Shit, damn it, I'm damned to clash in time with this rapid drive. Gotta hop in it and if I tell her hit my line just to pass the time. Fight the urge to pull strings, I mean I'm no mastermind. Shit, I ain't mastermind. Shit, damn it, I'm damned to clash in time with this rapid drive. Gotta hop in it and if I tell her hit my line just to pass the time.
In terms of something that you always want to do to your vocal, you want to try to clean up that low end and have it sound as clean as possible.
Fight till I hit my line just to pass the time. Fight the urge to pull strings, I mean I'm no mastermind. Shit, I ain't mastermind. Shit, damn it, I'm damned to clash in time.
If there's any parts of your recording that you want to bring down or boost up just a little bit, you can do that. Usually outside of the low end, I don't boost anything too up or too down by a lot at all, unless there's like a frequency that's really driving me insane. It's something that honestly you do have to practice, you have to play with a lot. What I did is I pretty much stayed with these EQ settings. I added a little bit of compression on the vocal, and let's see what that's sounding like now. And actually I already have like some reverb added from the original mix or whatever. Let's add some of that reverb so we can even get a better sound for how it's sounding. A better feel for how it's sounding.
Damned if I tell I hit my line just to pass the time. Fight the urge to pull strings, I mean I'm no mastermind. Shit, I ain't mastermind. Shit, damn it.
So I think it's sounding pretty good already. Like, you know, I think we're heading towards the right direction. One thing that is very annoying that you can probably hear is that we're getting a lot of sibilance in that vocal. We're getting a lot of those S's sound very strong.
Damn
so
if I mastermind. Shit, I ain't mastermind. Shit.
So once you hear that becoming an issue, we have to play with what they call a de-esser, which pretty much de-esses a vocal. It removes the S's in the vocal. So I wasn't planning to go into de-essers in this tutorial, but I guess it does fall into the realm of EQing. And yeah, I think so. De-essers are pretty much a combination of a EQ and a compressor. If you don't know what a compressor is, in 10 or 15 seconds, what it does is that it sets a certain threshold on a track, and whenever the volume of the track exceeds that threshold, it'll bring it down. So that's exactly what a de-esser does with certain frequencies. Whenever the track is playing and a certain frequency, it hears that a certain frequency gets very loud, it'll bring it down. So I hope that's clear. And obviously what we're aiming for is the frequencies that have that annoying S, that annoying sibilance or whatever. So whenever it hears the S's sound too powerful, a de-esser is gonna try to push down the volume of those frequencies to kind of regulate things. I really hope that's clear. If not, I'm gonna do a tutorial on compressors where I hope to explain things in much more detail. So look out for that. But okay, so let's try to see what we have here.
Damned if I tell I hit my line just to pass the time. Fight the urge to pull strings, I mean I'm no mastermind. Shit, I ain't mastermind. Shit, damn it, I'm damned to clash in time with this rapid drive.
So there you go. Even with the default settings with the frequency at 5506, I lower the threshold to about 29, and whenever it shows red over here, it pretty much shows whenever the de-esser is kicking in and kind of lowering the volume of the frequencies around that 5506 area, which the de-esser thinks is where the S's are. And it does sound a little better already. Check it out.
Damned if I tell I hit my line just to pass the time. Fight the urge to pull strings, I mean I'm no mastermind. Shit, I ain't mastermind. Shit, damn it, I'm damned to clash in time with this rapid drive.
Already that vocal is sounding way better in terms of the frequencies that we have nice and up front there. One last piece of advice I'll give you guys is that usually in hip hop, producers will send you like a 2-track of an instrumental, and then like you'll record your vocals under there. One thing that I like to do is that I'll add EQ to the actual 2-track of the instrumental, and wherever you hear that your vocal is most powerful in your track, you can actually lower down the frequencies in the instrumental. So for example, let's say that we know that that Buddha's vocals are strongest at like 1400, 1500, we'll lower down a little bit of dB there to kind of carve out some space for the vocal to sit in the EQ spectrum of the song. One more piece of advice that I want to give you, and I promise that if I don't turn this camera off, I can literally give you guys one last piece of advice all day. But one last thing is that don't be afraid to add multiple instances of an EQ. So for example, after you apply a de-esser, after you apply a compressor, you hear that maybe the compressor boosted a certain frequency that you didn't like, feel free to go and add another instance of EQ. And if you want to go and like remove remove a certain sound that's at 1083, feel free to do that. Feel free to add as many instances of EQ as you need to, because as you're adding plugins, sometimes certain things get boosted, certain plugins add certain frequencies that you may not want. So feel free to do that. At the end of the day, usually in terms of EQing, compressing and stuff like that, I usually EQ first always, and then as I add effects, if I need to add more instances of EQ, I do it. I don't know if that's a proper way to do it, but it gives me good results. And yeah, I'm sure we can go into the comment section and debate all day about what's the right way to do things, and I honestly am of the thought that there kind of isn't. There is just whatever your style is and whatever gives you good results. So yeah, feel free to experiment. EQing is tricky. It requires you training your ear a little bit in terms of how what you want things to sound like. And EQing, once you learn it for vocals, it's something that you can start using for your beats. You can start using for other things that you do. Knowing how an EQ works is something that's really important for all musicians that are interested in recording their music. And that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you learned something, give the video a thumbs up. Hit me in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions. And subscribe to the channel. That way you can stay posted with all the other tutorials that I'll be working on. Compression is probably the next one that I'm going to be doing, but let's see. Thanks for watching, guys. Always remember, create with what you have. You don't need much. And yeah, peace out, guys. Much love.
I never get what I give. Fuck it, I might find it on the road. Bringing bad girls to my shows. Have to put them on to my flow. Memo flex the track that I'm on, yeah. Said memo flex the track that I'm on. Why stay finessing these songs? Why stay finessing these bros, yeah.